I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I keep putting my name up because I was kidnapped in 1941 at age 2, and my father's Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor. He never married Wallace Simpson. It was a takedown by the Illuminati of my father because he would not take orders from them. They have defamed him, have lied about this one man they've made in history almost the worst villain going, when in reality, he's a good guy, the best that came through. How can I say this? This whole mess, the good man, and look what has happened to him. His own brother sold him out. The Illuminati, uh, controls now. They're the New World Order, your global government, your UN, sitting right up in near Rockefeller Plaza in New York City, Rockefeller headquarters. So you got Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, the Kennedys. Joe Kennedy was ambassador for the reason of taking down my father. Roosevelt, the president, appointed him, another Jew. Wallace Simpson married a double, an imposter. There were several imposters, and they were sent out, and they did this bad behavior that was blamed on my father, and they got away with it because it's to control your press. As today, it's totally control. They brought me over to a pigsty in Moulton, Alabama. That's near Decatur, and then Huntsville, Alabama is about 42 miles away. And that's where NASA began, and that's where the German scientists were brought over, Werner von Braun. And part of the ransom and all of this is not just money, it's illegal treaties that were signed. It's bringing scientists over here that were the ones that really built the Space Center and everything in Huntsville, Werner von Braun being one of them. It's almost like, to heck with my mother being Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from Madison, Wisconsin. They don't mention her either. They've deleted her. And then gun ho for Meghan Markle because she's biracial. Let's say it like it is for once. And people have, for some reason, catered to it. They're illegal. They should be put in prison. They're war criminals. And Meghan and not Meghan. Well, Meghan and Harry too. I don't know if Meghan knows all about this. I'm assuming she has to. William and Kate know the whole thing. They're illegal. They're not going to give up the gowns, the homes, and everything that are not theirs. They should be locked up because they do know. And I'm sitting here in front of that I can't use, so my ear's popping, and I've already busted an eardrum some time back, and I don't even have it on. It's so cold here. I'm almost afraid to say anything anymore, for a long time. Anyway, let me just cut to the chase and go back to this. It's cold as heck here today, and the wind's been blowing, and it's going to snow this weekend. So, anyway, I've told about my immune disorder, and I should have lived a good life in my home with my people in the UK and here, because the O'Keefes are my family, a great family, which, by the way, have been done away with too. I grew up in horrible conditions, deplorable, beaten. Everything in the book has been done to me. And telling about my kidnapping and what happened to my father and mother and my children the best I could. I can't tell all of it. It's so horrible. I hope it is told. I don't know anymore. I'm 80 years old. My sons, I don't know if they're alive or dead. And I've said, and this is what I was telling is the end times. I didn't realize it when I started doing the book on mind control, and Mr. Flint was shot, and George Wallace was shot, and his program shooting, and then there's lists of murders done with mind control. You can cure an illness, you can create it back to the Tesla files. You can make someone commit suicide or appear to, when actually it's just like the shootings, using the guns, mass shootings. The shooter, like in Virginia Tech, is a victim just like the people he was programmed to shoot. But then, like in Parkland in Florida, the school shooting, the people are putting in prison a victim themselves that did the shooting. They're programmed to. So where does this go? I've been telling this since 76. And some of the stars have been killed. And I've told Elvis Presley was one of them. By the way, his picture's out here. You get a lot of links being made and culminates here. His picture's up here. Elvis's is. He was here on the second floor just prior to him dying, to him being brought back here to Roanoke. I'm not going to go back in the past and try to tell about connections there. Elvis Presley, who I think was a very beautiful, well, he was beautiful man. He was a twin. His twin died. Okay, where am I going? I don't know. I'd be dead soon. I wanted to make this point again. Ever since the Illuminati took down my father, and the illegal treaties were signed that allowed them to come in, put their bases all over the UK, and then go forth into all the countries of Great Britain. The thing was to take down the British Empire. So sitting in there now is, I could never go home. Because in Parliament and everything is the very people that kidnap me. They control everything. The Illuminati do. And Elizabeth is part of it. And most of my family now are. Sweden, Denmark. I would hope there's still some that are not turncoats. Anyway, I don't know. People do strange things oddly enough. But anyway, Elizabeth is way up high, and they are too in the Illuminati. I mean, really up there. And this has been put up on the most 100 of the most wealthiest and powerful and people in the Illuminati. There are people kidnapped me and took down my country. And she's sitting there letting my dad still get defamed and lied about. Every video you see that connects with Meghan Markle and this whole thing is still stating my father married Wallace Simpson. A lie. They don't mention me and my kidnapping and JFK helping in it or any of this, or my children who are heirs after me. Now, ever since Winston Churchill and all this went down, some of my own people sold me out, the Prime Minister, a couple of them at least, and the Archbishop of Canterbury, Cosmos Lane. They were friends of Winston Churchill, a pipe or cigar smoking person that's made out to be the hero is the devil is the devil. If you want to call somebody evil, that's him, and the rest of this bunch of thugs. Global government. Henry Kissinger, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, Roosevelts, you name it. Freemason, Illuminati, Mafia. Now, before this tape goes off, because I'm always having trouble with tape going off and showing my face here, which I'm not sure. Anyway, ever since they took over Great Britain, kidnapped me, excuse me, and I'm sitting here where the fumes are coming through here. I mean, that shows you what it does to my ears are closed up. I'm going to have to get back over here. I mean, I'm so sick anyway, and my eardrums are bursting. I just got back from the doctor last week. So let me turn it this way and try to finish it before it goes off. It's not doing me any good. But I told about chipping people and mind control murders and all this and my kidnapping. Now then, since they kidnapped me, Winston Churchill was, and the rest of the bunch has been friends with Eisenhower, who was general, then president. Then Truman was president, and then who was president after then? Let's see. Well, Nixon, and then Kennedy, and I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody there. But they've always known about my kidnapping, participated. John Sparkman was the old senator from Alabama all those years, who Lina Dempsey, the mother of the twins, that they put me there and told me I was her daughter, Peggy, that she'd kill. Grew up having to use that name. Now I'm going to lose my train of thought, so just let me get off of it. But she was with John Sparkman when he died. But you get all these connections, and how the ransom, and it was in different ways, was handed over through the government, the State Department, which Henry Kissinger was over the State Department, Defense Department under Nixon. All these people and their Congress and everybody has always known this. The biggest secret that's not a secret. And your press won't touch any of it. Then the mind controller murders I wrote about. They won't tell about that either, obviously. Now, all your presidents, Ronald Reagan, Obama, let's see, all the way back, have spent nights in my homes where I've spent the night on the Appalachian Trail, freezing, starving, on the side of the road, getting raped, begging to find my children to see if they were alive and well. Any civil right you ever thought of having, I didn't have. So all these presidents and their wives, and they've played, the Kennedys even played with part of my family over there. Before my kidnapping even helped. That's the odd thing. So they were in on it way back then. So everybody, the former presidents, their wife and kids have been able to live in my homes, castles, everything, while I lived over here in pure hell. There's no other way to put it. Torture. And my children did. Heirs after me, or have. Now then, I've told about it all, and I'm going to get to this. It's so ugly. The Watergate hearings were going on, and that's where the 18.5-minute gap, where Henry Kissinger was in the White House with Nixon. It was done on their phone there in the White House, and later Nixon's secretary right there in the White House helped cover it up. But Henry Kissinger, the Jew, head of the Secretary of State and Defense under Nixon, was on there ordering my lobotomy. And I've put this all up. It was Gonzalez, who's still practicing medicine, the last I heard, was part of drugging me and taking me across from Northside, near Northside Hospital to College Park. It was in 72. I could go back because I know where I was living, and when I came in, because they had taken me out and raped me and were going to kill me until a car pulled up. It was dark. And they were going to kill me then after they were through with what they were doing to me. There were 4 of them, and one of them was black, and I put this up. Anyway, they were going to kill me, discussing killing me, and the one that claimed to be Smokey Stover, which I've found out recently was not really the real Smokey Stover, the singer. But anyway, he told him not to kill me, that he would deal with Gonzalez. Well, about that time, and they were arguing over it. The black guy, I remember him, oh yes, should kill me. Okay, a car pulled up and behind theirs, blocking them, and got their, with the lights on, got their tag numbers. Sat there a few minutes and finally pulled off. So they became afraid to kill me then. And I was able to get in my car and leave. I remember going in, and I was at Westgate, so it was in 72 this had to have happened, 73. I remember me going in, and it was late. It was like about 10, 11 o'clock at night, so it gets blurry, all of it, the time and all that. My son Mark he said, "Mom, what's happened to you, Mom?" And I made it upstairs. And I remember I couldn't send him to school the next day. I couldn't get out of bed. And then a week later, or 2 weeks later, was when Gonzales drugged me, took me across the state line, the city line. That was later when they tried to kill me, April Fool Day of 80. And I was laid out on the bed in a little clinic there, which I put up a lot at the railroad tracks in College Park. And it was still there in December of 82. So there's plenty of people would know who I'm talking about. I was taken there and put on this bed with about 6 people standing right there with surgical gown, mask on. And I kept thinking, if I could just make them know, and they would help me. Well, I know now they were there to lobotomize me. It was Henry Kissinger out of the White House, 18.5-minute gap in the Watergate tapes that were subpoenaed back then. And he was demanding certain things that if the Brits and my family didn't cross their palms with it, that they were going to lobotomize me. They had me there with Gonzales standing over me, the doctor behind me with I don't remember if he had the mask. Seemed like somehow I was able to see it. He was back here, and Gonzales would have been over on this side. Well, the call came through, and I lived to die another day, because that's what they've done to me, April Fool Day of 80, and it's so horrifying. And by the way, when I worked for the DA, in the mess I was in that they made out of me, the district attorney there, in the office, they role-played the Watergate tapes. I remember where they were going to lobotomize me on the 18.5-minute gap. That was Henry Kissinger, who's head of your global government, who, with Diana, was in D.C. years ago before she died, and they were having a charity, her gowns, and everybody was loving her. She's selling. These weren't all hers. Somebody's come back and defended her. Well, they had money. The money, these gowns was bought with money that was mine. Everything there that they've lived off of was mine, my father's, my children. So anyway, she was with Henry Kissinger there, and all the television and networks at Illuminati did it, covered it. And he said to her, and I don't remember if he had his arm around her or hand out and her close to him, but he said, "I think you should be queen." And then he followed up with a statement that power and money was his aphrodisiac was power and money. Well, that's a psychopath talking. But then what are all these other people who have allowed it all to happen? I started writing the book about mind control and all this in 76. Flint was shot. And then I got a letter from the FBI in 1979, June the 23rd. And then I was almost killed, really. Should not have walked away. So this was over and over. They tried to kill me. I'm sure there's a lot more times. I know there are. But these were the 2 definite times that I had no chance to walk away, really. So now then, I'm sitting here still. And I guess right at the moment, why not reconvene the Watergate hearings? And let's hear what's really on the 18.5-minute gap.